The moment unfolded with such sudden intensity that it immediately raised a pressing question across the global fan community. How could a simple outdoor TikTok recording by Jungkook, Taehyung, and jhope in Munich escalate into a viral phenomenon powerful enough to dominate online discourse within hours? What initially appeared to be an informal filming session in an open courtyard rapidly transformed into one of the most talked about BTS moments of the year, leaving observers questioning whether this was merely spontaneous content or a carefully timed emotional signal before their departure to Paris. Amid an already demanding schedule in Munich, expectations had been firmly grounded in routine, rehearsals, stage preparations, and limited public exposure. However, the emergence of a production setup in a spacious courtyard disrupted that narrative entirely. Witnesses reported the quiet installation of cameras and minimal crew presence, a detail that, at first glance, suggested a low-scale recording. Yet, the situation escalated the moment the three members appeared in the open space, immediately drawing attention from nearby fans and passers-by who had not anticipated any public-facing activity of this nature. The atmosphere shifted with remarkable speed. What had been a calm and ordinary environment turned into a concentrated epicenter of excitement. Observers described an almost disbelief-driven reaction, as individuals struggled to process the reality of seeing Jungkook, Taehyung, and jhope in such close proximity without the barrier of a formal stage. This proximity played a critical role in amplifying the emotional weight of the moment, as fans were not merely spectators but direct witnesses to an unfolding interaction between artists and environment. Crucially, the openness of the location allowed uninterrupted visibility into the entire filming process. Fans observed not only the final performance, but also the preparatory stages, brief discussions, subtle adjustments in choreography, and spontaneous exchanges of laughter among the members. These unscripted fragments contributed significantly to the viral impact, as they revealed a dimension of authenticity often absent from highly produced performances. The distinction between rehearsal and performance blurred, creating a continuous narrative that felt immediate and unfiltered. Taehyung's presence quickly emerged as a focal point within this dynamic. Positioned prominently within the formation, his composure and visual intensity drew consistent attention. Observers noted that his movements carried a balance of precision and restraint, creating a contrast that heightened the overall visual composition of the trio. His occasional gestures toward the surrounding crowd further intensified the atmosphere, triggering waves of reaction that reinforced the collective energy of the space. Jungkook, in contrast, projected a different form of engagement, one defined by sustained energy and technical focus. His repeated rehearsal of specific movements suggested a commitment to detail even within an informal setting. However, this intensity was frequently interrupted by moments of visible ease, as he transitioned seamlessly between concentration and light interaction with both members and onlookers. This duality contributed to the perception of authenticity that became central to the video's reception. jhope's role proved equally significant, particularly in shaping the emotional tone of the scene. His movements displayed a fluidity that anchored the choreography, while his expressive reactions introduced a layer of accessibility that resonated strongly with those present. Observers repeatedly emphasized his ability to maintain momentum within the group dynamic, ensuring that the energy remained elevated throughout the filming process. The decisive turning point occurred when the music began and recording formally commenced. At that instant, the environment underwent a perceptible transformation. The informal atmosphere condensed into a moment of synchronized execution, where each movement aligned with precision despite the absence of a traditional stage. Witnesses described the performance as unexpectedly powerful, noting that the level of synchronization rivaled that of a formal concert setting. This contrast between context and execution became a central factor in the video's viral trajectory. Simultaneously, the crowd's reaction intensified. The presence of raised phones, audible gasps, and sustained cheering created a feedback loop in which performer and audience continuously amplified one another. The courtyard, initially defined by its openness, became densely charged with collective attention. Even individuals with no prior expectation of encountering BTS were drawn into the moment, expanding the scope of the audience beyond dedicated fans. As the filming progressed through multiple takes, a subtle but increasingly evident interpretation began to circulate among observers. This was not merely content creation, but a symbolic conclusion to their time in Munich. The timing, the openness of the setting, and the visible engagement with the crowd all contributed to this perception. Each completed take, followed by smiles and gestures toward the audience, reinforced the impression of a deliberate farewell conveyed through performance rather than words. The emotional dimension of this interpretation reached its peak toward the end of the session. Witnesses reported audible calls from the crowd expressing a desire for the group to return, while others responded with heightened emotional reactions. The interaction remained unstructured yet deeply resonant, suggesting a shared understanding between performers and audience that this moment marked a transition point. What distinguishes this event from standard viral content is not solely its visibility, but its layered significance. The dance itself, while technically compelling, functioned as a medium for a broader message. Its simplicity allowed the emotional context to emerge more clearly, unencumbered by elaborate staging or narrative framing. This clarity enabled rapid dissemination across platforms, where viewers who had not been present could nonetheless perceive the underlying sentiment. The subsequent spread of the video further amplified its impact. Within hours, fragments of the performance circulated widely, accompanied by interpretations emphasizing its spontaneity, emotional resonance, and timing relative to the group's departure for Paris. The narrative coalesced around a central idea: that this brief, unannounced performance encapsulated a moment of transition, bridging the conclusion of one chapter with the anticipation of the next. This interpretation raises a critical question that continues to drive discussion. Was the moment purely spontaneous, or did its structure reflect an awareness of its potential significance? While definitive conclusions remain elusive, the observable elements, location, timing, and interaction, suggest a convergence of intention and authenticity. It is precisely this ambiguity that sustains the video's relevance, as it invites ongoing analysis rather than offering a fixed explanation. In the broader context of BTS's global presence, the Munich TikTok recording stands as a case study in how minimalistic content can achieve maximum impact when aligned with timing, environment, and emotional authenticity. It demonstrates that large-scale production is not a prerequisite for global resonance. Rather, it is the convergence of genuine interaction and contextual significance that determines lasting influence. As Jungkook, Taehyung, and jhope concluded the final take, their visible expressions, marked by composure, satisfaction, and subtle acknowledgement of the surrounding crowd, provided a closing image that continues to circulate across digital platforms. For those present, the moment has already solidified into a lasting memory. For the global audience, it remains an unfolding narrative, one that extends beyond the boundaries of a single video and into the evolving trajectory of BTS's ongoing journey.